Welcome to another episode of Dose and a Half Cincos. This is episode number 33. As always, I'm your host, David.
And I'm Stuart.
And I'm Ben.
Fucking stop copying me, Ben. Goddamn.
Why don't you stop copying me, Stuart?
Because I go first before you.
All right,
Well, I go second after you.
We have a guest on the podcast.
No. We're
Take it easy. We'll hash it out after
let me
hours.
at him. Okay.
Nope. Stay back. And this week we are joined by James Chowtham, longtime listener and first time caller.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's me. Yes,
Hi, James.
Hello. It's an honor.
Is that
Big
welcome.
fan, especially Stu and Ben
Oh yeah.
and everybody else that's part of it.
I know he's been wanting to meet his heroes, and I was like, you're never supposed to meet your heroes. And then he's like, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want to meet Stu and Ben.
Especially in this
unfortunately, I have the opportunity to meet David every single weekday.
case. Yeah. Well,
that must be terrible.
we were meeting David Chen back when it was. Well, no, it's always been bad. So, so Chowtham, is that Chinese or?
It is actually Thai.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know if it was like a European name. I just wasn't.
Oh, really?
I saw Chow.
Oh, you gave it away.
I see Chow, and I'm like, that's got to be Asian.
The
Definitely.
European Chinese.
But then the Tham part, I was like, I don't know.
Well, welcome to the show. We're definitely excited that you're here, especially since this week we are reviewing Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's not V, right? It's Scott versus the World.
It's not a court case. I don't think it's Scott Pilgrim v. the World.
Hey, Superman v. Batman should have been versus. Why was it V?
That's
It's
true.
Batman v Superman. Actually.
Well, why? Doesn't V also mean versus?
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was a court case. They actually went to court.
Yeah. It's a little known fact in the DC universe. It was actually a court case before it was an actual fight.
Well, we'll just skip right over that one.
No.
So we've been, as we've been doing over the last 10 weeks now, we are going to go straight into. We're going to shark dive into this week's Street Sharks episode, Street Fight, Season 2, Episode 7. So last week, what happened on Street Sharks episode 6? Streaks was captured and they tried saving him and were successful, obviously.
I don't know if there's any recap of the previous episode necessary because there's no continuity here, really.
Well,
I was
actually,
kind of about to say that.
I mean, there's overall continuity, but there's not like there wasn't a cliffhanger from the previous episode that is important for this.
Previously on Street Sharks,
it's not like Streaks or Ripster were charging up a Kamehameha, and we had is he going to do it or Spirit Bomb, and they're like, is he going to do it? I don't know. No, they didn't do that. So.
Well,
I'm saying.
just to recap, they saved him, fine. And then we lost Moby Lick. He rode off into the sunset.
R.I.P. Although, based on this episode, maybe he'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's not leave the listeners hanging. We'll just jump straight into it. So this week it is Rox is back, as you know him. He is the long-haired rock star turned shark. And he comes back to Fission City to accept his music award as best new artist.
It's it's the Really Rockin' Music Award. Let's get it right.
Thank you, Stu. And so pretty much during this episode, he uses his newfound popularity with his friends that are the Street Sharks. They happen to trigger Dr. Paranoid or Paranoid.
Paradigm.
Depends on who you're asking, I think. But during the course of that, Dr. Paradigm tries to snatch Rox, and they destroy a hotel. There's a valuable disc that is there that ends up in the hands of Dr. Paradigm and his cronies.
Slopster and what was the other one?
Slash.
Killamari.
And Slash.
That's one that stuck to me.
Yeah. And during
the
that
Holy Trinity.
Yep. And so, the night proceeds. Rox goes on to get his what was the name of the
Really Rockin'
show?
Music Award.
There we go.
God.
The Really Rockin' Music Awards, and they have this plan where they're going to reveal who's been trying to gene slam the entire city, and whoops, it turns out to be they swapped the discs, and now all fingers are pointing at the mayor. So, in this episode, how did it make you guys feel anything?
It rocked me to my core.
It did. That was a really rocking song.
Yeah, it was like having Streaks back on the kid again. Man, it's been so long.
Just only for a little bit, though, right?
I mean, he played a full song, I think.
Yeah.
He had a full song. But yeah, I was the whole time in the episode. Well, not whole time. That one scene where Rox was having the TV interview. It was like, bro, just tell him right now. Just tell him. Why do you
have to wait until the very end of your fucking award?
Gotta keep him in suspense.
I gotta give Dr. Paradigm a chance to mess with this. But man, I was not happy with that because he spent like fucking 3 minutes talking about how he was going to tell everyone.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it. I swear.
Why didn't you just do it during the news conference? What's the point of doing it over the video?
Exactly. You're already on camera in front of a bunch, you're being broadcast to all of Fission City. I mean, just tell them now. But
nobody thought to do any video checking the source of it if it got altered at all. Come on.
I think this is before they had that technology.
What? You couldn't do that on a floppy disk?
David, I don't know if you remember this, but in the 90s, when something was on the news, it was true. So there was no contesting it.
So what do you mean back in the days? That's true now. Whatever's on Facebook is true. And then whatever's on the news is fake news.
Yeah, but this is before fake news was even a thing. There was no such news except for news. I mean, you should know. You're older than all of us. Or I don't know.
Breaking news. He's going to tell us in 20 minutes.
Yeah, very much.
Is your Dr. Paradigm bad for your health? Find out later on tonight at 10.
Yeah, so the one thing I wanted to bring it up is I was listening to the intro song this time around.
What do you mean this time around?
I usually I end up usually skipping it, but
what?
I kept expecting at that point where at the very end, right before there's the saxophone solo, I kept expecting them to say something like Street Sharks are filmed on location in front of a live studio audience, and I'm just like, where is it? And then it just starts.
Oh. See, just like the theme song from Wayne's World. Filmed in front of a live studio audience. Wayne's World.
Party on, Wayne, and
party on Garth.
So, Stu, favorite moment?
Well, other than Rox being back and Streaks being on the kid again, it was probably, those were my two favorite moments. So,
okay,
so there you go.
And, what about you, James?
Well, I'm gonna prefix this saying that I've never watched Street Sharks. I was actually introduced by David. I know, first time, but it left me speechless. I would say, yeah.
This is what cartoons were like back then.
Well, this was around the same time as Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah, I think I heard David mention Big Bad Beetleborgs. I don't know another human being that has said those words. I was like, what?
I don't think there are many human beings.
Yeah, I was like,
oh, Ben knows.
No way.
Ben knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben, you're one of the good ones.
Yep. I know. I'm the best.
Ben, favorite moment?
Why was... Okay. Dr. Paradigm is trying on a new helmet on top of his other helmet while he's wearing a cloak. How many fucking layers can this guy put on?
I told you it's because he's trying. It's a cry for help. He wants people to think he's a villain, but nobody's doing it, so he has to keep stepping it up.
And then he goes into the concert wearing said stupid cloak and the helmet. Like, what the fuck?
He looks like Mysterion.
Oh,
no,
that's
the new helmet doesn't make him look like that.
That reminded me of, I guess my third favorite scene was when Killamari got thrown into the crowd by Big Slamoo, and he lands on Dr. Paradigm, and Paradigm's like trying to act like I don't know you. Go away from me.
And he's just like, get out of here, and he just points him off.
I didn't create you.
I don't know this guy. Everyone.
Never seen this bloke in my entire life.
I certainly didn't create him in my lab.
And so, yeah, with the way it ends, there is a cliffhanger in this one, right?
Ooh.
Right? Was there? I don't remember.
Yeah, there was a.
Yeah. Yeah, at the very end, like the mayor stands up and then goes,
that's right.
What are we gonna do? And then they're like, oh, how did he like swap the discs? When did he have time to do all that? And and then it just kind of ends. It all just ended right there, right?
Yeah,
there wasn't there was no like final line or anything like that.
Also, I don't know if maybe I have to do some fact checking on this. Can you fit video files on a floppy disk these days?
Well, I don't know. Maybe Dr. Paradigm researched some really good compression techniques. I don't know.
You can fit Oregon Trail on a floppy. How many floppy disks does that take? 4?
I never played Oregon Trail.
Oh my! That's right.
That's how young Ben is.
Ben's like 20 years younger than us.
And I think also James also probably doesn't know what Oregon Trail is.
I know of it.
Wait, James,
I haven't played it.
I want
exactly.
Quick demographic check. James, how old are you?
27.
Okay.
Oh,
so you're Ben's age.
Yeah. Oh. There you go.
So you're telling me in the 6 years that I've been on this planet longer than the both of you, I played Oregon Trail, you guys didn't?
Well, because by that time they had like PlayStation 2 and stuff, I think. Or
man, you guys missed out on dying by dysentery.
Yeah, or the hunting the buffalo. That was the best part.
Game changer.
It's like letting us play this in school. All right.
Stupid. We're learning. Doesn't feel like learning at all. And then they came out with a board game. It's nothing like it. It's sad. Yeah. So, any other thoughts about this week's episode of Street Sharks called Shark Fight?
Shark Fight.
No,
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll jump straight into our not box office rundown because the last couple of weeks, because of COVID-19, and all the movie theaters are closed.
I just want to see what week is it? We're quick.
We are in week 14, and I'm pretty sure nothing is on there.
Oh yeah,
because I'm pretty sure all of AMC has been closed.
It's empty.
All the AMCs and all the. So the only theaters that are available now are the one where your couch and your TV, and you can log on to see The Hunt, or I believe The Way Back is on Prime Video now, or video, yeah. So that's all available, but yeah, no box office rundown for the foreseeable future until the safer at home has been lifted or whatever other things like that. But since that's the case, I just wanted to check in with everybody. So Ben, how is the working from home, being quarantined kind of been so far?
Well, I hope it never ends. This is great.
I know, right? This is the best. Why? How was I not working from home before this? This is ridiculous.
I know.
How many days has it been for you guys?
15.
Just Stuart? Last week was my first week.
Okay, so like 5.
So 6, including today.
James, how's your work from home?
James doesn't work from home, and Dave doesn't.
I want to go.
We are essential.
Yeah, it's essential that we shuffle papers around.
Wait. Is James? You're not working from home, or you are working from home?
I'm not working from home.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
Yeah. He works in another department. He works in the
I'm David's boss.
That's true.
I mean, who isn't really?
Actually, that's the running joke. Everybody's my boss.
Yep.
No, I work in a different department from David.
So a department that actually does work.
Yes.
Got him.
Well, that does it for this week's podcast. Thank you for joining us on the Doesn't See Us podcast. I can't go on anymore. Okay. So we'll jump straight into the movie of this week. I know that I sprung James on the both of you, but he has had some background on this movie.
Ooh.
So he's James. You said you had watched this how many times?
Oh, at least probably like 20 times.
Oh,
perfect. So that means that Ben, if you're okay with it, how about James? You can give us a synopsis.
It's going to be a
good, 'cause I didn't
battle.
prepare anything.
Whoa.
It's going to be a battle of who likes Scott Pilgrim more, James or Ben?
I was unexpected, David. Well, our protagonist, Scott Pilgrim, aka Michael Cera, played by Michael Cera, meets a mysterious girl, and he finds her fondly and wants to date her. And while through the process, he finds out that she has 7 evil exes that he has to defeat. And throughout the movie, he encounters all these exes, and eventually we find out if he's able to keep on dating Ramona Flowers, the girl.
Wow.
The Bay.
David, why are you copying me?
I am so proud right now.
Shut the fuck up, David.
All right, Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Ben, it doesn't feel good when someone copies you, right?
I know, right?
I know, right?
I know, right?
Right?
So, Ben, we'll start with you. So, how many times have you seen this movie?
I don't even know at this point. I feel like this is definitely one of those movies I just put on whenever,
Yeah,
like as background
definitely.
noise too. It's just like there. So I don't even know.
It's my Zootopia. It's like my Zootopia.
Yeah, it's your Zootopia. Except
You mean it's going to be your Onward pretty soon?
Well, yeah, once Onward gets on there, but
that's true.
April 7th, I believe, is the date that they're releasing.
A whole week away, man.
I know, but then after that, you can binge and binge and
That's
binge.
true.
You can get your fill of Onward.
It'll be like my Rush Hour 2 from high school when I would just have it on all the time.
You mean your Rush Hour 2 of now, right?
Or
right?
Well,
Cool.
Right?
I mean, okay. All right, I got to come clean. I haven't really been watching Rush Hour 2 lately.
Holy fuck.
Because you've been watching Rush Hour 1. This is the best.
No, I don't even
It's way better. Rush Hour 1 is way better than Rush Hour 2. All right, so since James and Ben have both seen this, I'm actually really curious. Stu, this is the first time you've ever seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, right?
It was, and actually, wait. Before we get to me, how many times have you seen it, David?
I think 3.
Okay, so James and Ben are locked in a death battle over who's seen it the most. And then David and I are just the
casuals.
The Scott Pilgrim casuals.
Well, yeah, I
Scott Pilgrim normies.
Yeah.
So we can all be outside in watching this cage match.
Yeah.
Will be between James and Ben. Actually, before we jump into this portion, I actually thought that originally that Ben hadn't seen it, and I thought Stu had seen it a bunch of times.
Yeah, and I had to yell at you about it.
Yeah.
He goes, I would never, ever suggest another Michael Cera movie. Ever. Do you not understand? He is dead. I was like, no, he's pretty alive. He goes, he's dead to me. Like, oh, perfect. All right. Well, good thing Ben forced Stu to watch this. So, Stu, I would like your unfiltered, unaltered opinion before you hear James and Ben.
Okay. Well, clearly they like this movie. Otherwise, they would not be subjecting themselves to it.
All right, here we go.
And,
all right.
Excuse me. Wait a minute. Before you say that, Homer didn't like Clogflosh, and then he continued, and then he started drinking crab juice.
Give me the crab juice.
Exactly.
No.
He didn't like that, and he continued to keep drinking the crab juice.
Yeah. Oh, I'll take the crab juice.
Exactly. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you can't eventually tolerate it.
That's true. That's just
like all the Michael Cera movies that we're going to continue to keep ramming down your throats until you're his biggest fan.
Yeah, or any hard liquor ever. That's always been my opinion. I know it's not a popular opinion.
Hey, maybe that's the way Michael Cera is. He ages like a whiskey, where you have to you kind of just add a little sprinkle of water, and then it brings up the flavor, and then you really can
until you just start
the bitterness. That's
until
right.
You just start depending on it to get yourself out of bed in the morning.
I can't get out of bed until I at least get 20 minutes of Scott Pilgrim.
20 minutes of Michael Cera. That's the episode title.
All right. So, Stu, thoughts?
All right. So this is a little unusual for me since I'm I'm here with two Scott Pilgrim versus the World super fans.
Here we go.
So I don't know, my take might be a little hot on it.
Here we go.
But I'll preface it. Would you shut up, Ben? Color commentating.
I think it doesn't really help that we have a second one who's just like him.
Yeah, now Ben's got backup.
Yeah,
good.
What are you gonna fucking do? Let's go.
All right,
tag me in, Ben.
All right, here we go.
Everyone, shut up. Let me
go
do this.
high. Go high. Let's go.
Hey, you go. I will mute the both of you. Go ahead, Stu.
Okay. So let me preface this by saying this my review or my scoring of this movie, it might be based on my frame of mind when I was watching it, because I forgot to watch it over the weekend. So I had it on while I was working today. So, and I was kind of like, I was making an effort to pay attention to it, but at the same time, I was also like trying to like get back to work. So having said that, this is my main takeaways. It was if I wasn't working, I probably would have enjoyed it more. So I tried to factor that into my score. I tried to like bump it up based on that fact. But because I felt like it was, it was very stylish, it was very stylized, which I liked all that stuff, and I have no complaints there. I think the biggest gripe I had was that it seemed, I think. Well, are we doing spoilers? Is this spoilers?
We'll split it up. So try to keep it unspoiler.
So it was very cool, very stylish. I feel like it was too long. It could have been shorter. It could have been maybe like an hour and 20 to hour and 30. Instead, it was an hour and 50 minutes. And we'll get into this, the spoilers of as to why I think we could have trimmed it down a bit. But I mean, overall, I liked it. It was, it was a fine movie. One thing I didn't really like, and I this is my personal thing, is I think all the music in the movie that was played by the bands, I hate that music. So I hate that kind of music. So it was rough for me to have to listen to it so much. But anyways, my overall score of it is a 7 out of 10.
Okay. And we'll go with now we'll go to the super fans. Ben.
Stuart Yang is fucking dead to me. Anyways, back to the half singles with new member. Well, get the fuck out of here, Stuart.
Okay, bye, guys.
Ben, what would you rate it?
For me, it's a 9 out of 10.
And the reasoning?
Because I'm super biased on this, because I really like the director, because Edgar Wright's like my favorite director, and I like how each scene is packed with little details and not just highlighted up with small parts, and it had a really banging soundtrack by Beck, and there's a lot of visual gags to go along with the Chuck Jones-esque style comedy with the incorporation of audio and visuals, and I really like the opening title crawl, and the pacing is really unusual and extremely fast, but it's just like going and going and going, it doesn't really give you a lot of time to breathe, and there's a lot of X-monkeys, so it's really zany, but it really cranks up even more when they get into the first fight with Dave Patel. Yeah.
Wow. Actually, I think Ben mentioned something in there that is one of the reasons why I kind of docked it, was because I felt like it was edited by someone with ADHD.
Yeah. But I think
that might be, you might like that. I didn't really like it. And for the most part, it was fine for the most part, but there were parts where I was like, okay, this is getting a little too much now. But anyways, that I just wanted to.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me ask Stu, your background. Did you ever read is it a graphic novel or a manga?
I knew it considered a graphic novel.
Yeah, graphic novel. So I read it before I read it before the movie, and so I felt like what Ben was
Okay,
kind of hitting
David.
on. What?
Okay, you read the book before. Okay, you thought the book was better. Okay.
Actually,
I
I
actually made a
really
joke
enjoyed.
about that.
I really
But
enjoyed the movie because it kind of was it was kind of like the graphic novel brought to life in
Mhm.
the fact that it's kind of like ADHD, like you were saying, and I think it's very true to kind of like that style and the interpretation the best you can do in that like film. So for me, 8 out of 10. And so, what about you, James?
I think Ben said it really well. I agreed on his points. I would say a 9 out of 10, or I'd give it a definitely watch, especially if you're a millennial or like, I mean, this age demographic, because there's a lot of references, especially gaming references, that I think a lot of people our age can kind of connect to.
Oh, okay. And well, Stu, just to let you know, there's a reason why Ben is so also very tied to this movie.
Is he in it?
This is the same director as Hot Fuzz and also
woo,
Shaun of the
Shaun of the
Dead,
Dead.
woo,
Baby
But I didn't.
Driver.
I didn't see either of those
woo.
two guys in it.
Yeah, no, I was expecting to see them in the Sean Penn or Simon
All
Pegg
right.
and Nick
And
Frost.
Nick
Well,
Frost.
with that new information, I'd like to redo my score. It's a 6 out of 10 now.
Oh
Ooh.
my
Oh,
god!
because
Get
they're
the
not
fuck
in
out
it.
of Get the fuck!
Hey, you just agreed with that, Ben. You didn't tell me that they were supposed to
Boo!
be in
Get
this
this man
movie.
out of here with his facts and his life. Boo!
No,
I
I'm kidding.
guarantee you,
It's still 7.
if we put Hot Fuzz on this podcast, I'm pretty sure he'll give a much higher score.
Ooh, ooh,
I
man.
think
Oh,
it's just Michael Cera without having the balancing factor of having a Simon Pegg or a Nick Frost on there.
well, I will say
Unfortunately,
this.
it's a lot of Michael Cera.
I will say this because I know before the reason why I was so reluctant to watch this movie is because I was like I'm not really the biggest Michael Cera fan. At least not as like I don't think I've ever watched him in like a lead role. He was like in Superbad. He was like they were both. He was sharing the screen with someone. Um, so for this one, I didn't hate him as much as I normally might have because he didn't seem to have the same type of Michael
Hmm.
Cera
Esqueness.
yeah,
Yeah.
be like mannerisms and stuff to it. I mean, there's still some of that, but it wasn't just like every fucking scene. But yeah, so that's it wasn't too bad.
Okay, well, that'll do for this portion of the just generalized review. And we're going to step straight into the spoiler zone.
After you.
And now we're there.
Age before beauty.
I'm,
Get in there,
Aw.
Grandpa.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm already in the spoiler zone. Look,
So this is how it
did
has to
you?
be.
Yeah, it's nice and warm.
Whoa.
Get inside the spoilers. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry. Just let it in.
We
Just
got to
let it
go
in.
through the airlock, make sure there's no coronavirus in here.
Yeah, watch
Jokes
out for
on
the
you.
elders.
I'm bringing it in with me.
Oh
David's a
no,
carrier.
it affects elders the most. David, watch out.
God.
Jesus.
So edgy, too edgy.
Wow. Well, let's finish this podcast really quick before I kick the bucket. Apparently. Sheesh. So Stu, I know that you had some things you wanted to grind about inside the spoiler zone. I'll let you kick it off.
Okay. So they're all the stuff.
Fantastic. All right,
okay.
let's go back. No, I'm just kidding. You were saying?
So like I did like all the stuff you guys were mentioning, where like there was like all these little references, little like video game sound effects, and all that stuff was great. Although the whole time I was thinking, okay, when we get to the video games, and then I guess I don't know. I guess I was like, okay, I guess all the fights kind of became like video games in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think about it, so
Hmm.
but during the movie, I was like, okay, when's the video game stuff gonna happen? It's like right now it was just kind of like reference, and I like those references, but I was just wondering when it was gonna tie into what the actual movie was gonna be because I don't think they start like you don't fight like the first guy until like 45 minutes into the movie or 30 minutes
Yeah.
into the movie.
Yeah, it's a while in.
Hmm.
So the whole time I'm like, okay, I like these video games. I like this video game stuff, but where's it going? Where's it going? Um, so, but one thing I thought, I mean, I did like the like how like they turned all the fighting scenes into like I couldn't decide if it was like an anime or if it was a fighting game. Ben, which one
More
would
like
you say it was?
I
Or
would
maybe
say
it
it's
was an
more like a
anime
fighting game.
fighting game.
No, it's a fighting game, man. I mean, they even had the Street Fighter shit in there, you know,
Yeah.
like
Oh, breaking through multiple walls and
Yeah, but but then he had all like the poses, like like the first guy, he was very animated with his poses and stuff, and I feel like that's an anime thing. But
I don't
I,
know.
I
I wouldn't know.
don't know. Tekken was very like that, or
are
like the
you
pre-scene before they start fighting,
you
like
trying to
right
tell
before
me
it says fight,
you
and
trying
then
to tell
they
me
do like the
Tekken
dancing around.
wouldn't be an anime? Isn't inspired by anime? They're all drawn like anime characters.
But it's
Yeah,
Canadian.
They're
Anime
Canadian.
can't be
yeah.
Canadian, right?
Amazon.ca.
Oh,
Mysterious
that's
land.
true. That's true. That's a good point. Anime can't be Canadian.
All right, 8 out of 10.
2020.
Was that Stu? Score just went up. Great.
Yeah. But no, I was saying before, I think if my mindset wasn't like I wasn't trying to like, okay, hurry up, I'm trying to get back to work. I probably would have given it an 8. But at one point in the movie, I was like, we're like 3 of the ex-boyfriends in. I'm like, fuck, we got 4 more of these to go. Like, there's so many. Why can't we just have like 3 or 5 at the most?
And then the film did you a favor and then doubled 2 of them together.
Yeah, I was like, maybe they're
Twinned.
like, yeah, I guess that was good that they did that, because if there
Stu,
was like,
they heard all of your complaints,
yeah,
20 years prior, and was like, "Yep, I guarantee you, Stuart Yang is going to complain, saying that, oh my God, there's going to be 4 more of these X's. We'll just we'll just make them twins. It's fine. Just put them together."
yeah. And I think now I understand where the vegan powers come from.
Oh my gosh. You were in the same position that I was when I didn't realize why Thomas kept burping every time he was talking until I watched Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I was like, is he okay? I don't think that's supposed to happen a lot.
I always just thought Thomas was being gross, but
Yeah, I think that he did that first, honestly.
yeah, he inspired it.
Yeah.
So for James and Ben, I have a question I wanted to ask. Do you consider Scott Pilgrim versus the World a cult classic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is a cult classic only because it made less money than it cost to make?
I think so. It did not do well at the box office.
Yeah, initially, it did not do well, and then it got a really big following after it came to like DVDs and like kind of word spread around, and it got big after that, like maybe a year after.
I don't know if you remember or not, but was the video game first or did the movie come out first?
It was I don't know. I think it came around about the same time. I think maybe a little before the release, if you want to correct
Because I
me.
remember playing Scott Pilgrim versus the World on PS3.
Yeah.
Before the movie came
Yeah,
out.
that was also
or
really
around the
good.
same time. Yeah. So, so what else would you consider in the same realm as this, as like Scott Pilgrim versus the World? Like, is this on the same level as the cult classics as like The Room or Rocky Horror Picture Show yet? Is it considered that big yet?
Well, I know that the Frida did do showings of it, like fan showings, and people would come dressed up, and they do all these zany things during the showing. So they did do that. So it has somewhat of a cult following because of that.
Okay.
In addition to, I don't know if you guys are aware of the New Beverly Theater that's in Hollywood,
Yeah.
that's owned by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
So I want to say 2011 or 2012, they had shown Scott Pilgrim. They had it set for at least one showing every month, and I've been to one of them, and it was crazy. They basically gave that movie its own block once a month, and I think that speaks volumes too.
Yeah, I want to go check it out one time, but I
After
imagine that
COVID.
New Beverly's going to be around by the time
Oh,
this is out.
really?
I hope it is. I really
Oh,
hope it is.
dang.
I mean,
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino has enough money to keep it afloat, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And if he doesn't, I'm pretty sure he'd just pull all the money from there and then open it up somewhere else in an empty warehouse and start over.
Please. I need it.
I need this.
We need this.
Need it.
Come on,
So,
baby.
actually, speaking of just like the situation that's happening right now, if we can do our part in trying to plug some of these like independent theaters, like the Alamo, for example, the Frida, making sure that these guys get a chance to be able to come back as soon as we get back to regular life, to make sure that we're paying homage and going there to make sure that these places stay open, because it's going to be tough for all these small businesses for sure to be able to justify staying open, especially with nobody feeling safe to go out yet.
Yeah, I would say the one of the theaters that definitely need it the most is the Frida, just because it's a nonprofit. So yeah.
So yeah, if you guys can, if you guys are listening to this and you guys want to see small theaters like that continue, I'm sure they have a donation link. We will try to find something and we'll post that and try to help out as much as possible to keep those places open, because we did not get a chance to go see The Room, and Ben and Stu were talking about it nonstop, and I definitely would love to be able to
I got 1,000 spoons sitting here. I need to use.
I know. So do I. There's 1,000 sitting of them in my closet.
I feel like a total doofus now. I got a box full of spoons just sitting here.
Well, I mean, for us, we celebrate a lot of birthdays, so maybe we just give out spoons, and instead of cake, we'll just start doing soup.
Hey, can I get a knife? No, we only got spoons.
Spoons. So I know, Ben, that you really enjoy a lot of stuff that Edgar Wright has done. James, do you feel the same way? Because I remember we were talking about it a little bit earlier today, and I told you what movie we were reviewing, and you just started talking about Scott Pilgrim. Is where does Edgar Wright just sit with you?
Oh no, he's like one of a kind, of like on his own respect. I want to say Ben had mentioned it was like one of the early podcasts. It was this YouTube channel called Every Frame by Painting. Amazing YouTube channel. It makes you feel like you're a film student, but basically he breaks down like different directors and different genres and stuff. And Edgar Wright is very unique in the sense um, that he uses a lot of visual and editing techniques to make his jokes, and sometimes you don't really catch them the first time around, but if like second viewings and third viewings, you kind of see these jokes that you didn't even that were subtle, that are freaking amazing. Yeah, I do enjoy Edgar Wright's movies, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, and also Baby Driver. They're all great films. Trying to think. But yeah, Edgar Wright is definitely one of a kind of its own. I don't think there's anybody very in his realm of how he directs, but yeah.
So, what are some of the, I guess, like footprints that he left on this movie that makes it so unique?
Well, he's known for, obviously. Stu had mentioned about like it's very ADHD, where like the edits are very fast, and so a lot of the scenes are it is to me it feels like it's very rushed, but if you see it multiple times, you kind of catch little things here and there. Um, and also his transitions are awesome too, because I'm trying to think of exact scenes, but like um when Scott wakes up and he has to pee, and then he opens up to this locker room. A lot of it we see is like digital effects, but a lot of the effects are practical, and so they basically had to switch that whole entire room to be that locker room. And then also the opening also is like when they zoom out to the couch, they actually have like 50 feet that they move the camera backwards, and so a lot of it is digital effects, but also a lot of it's practical effects, which is also awesome to see as well.
Yeah, I don't think I had all the effects. Everything was done really well, as that you mentioned. I think for me though, I kind of got overloaded in certain moments. It was just like too much. Like for me, it was like too much stuff going on.
Yeah,
Too
I
like
could definitely see that. It can be a bit
yeah.
overwhelming,
That's not to say
especially
that it wasn't done well,
mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah, especially when you mentioned that you're kind of like half doing work and trying to watch it. It's
Yeah.
definitely a movie that requires a lot of your attention, because you can easily miss a whole bunch of
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I'm sure I missed all kinds of stuff. But I did get, there was some stuff I caught. The easy stuff I caught, like the Seinfeld reference.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I could
mean,
see that.
yeah. um, But as much as like I kind of griped on stuff, there were some moments I actually like laughed pretty hard. I think the part I laughed the hardest at was it was before the first Battle of the Bands thing when they're all kind of meeting up for the first time, and uh, what's her name? They're about to like Knives and what's her name? Ramona.
Ramona.
Like they're like kind of like being introduced to each other almost, and there's
Mhm.
like this like very tense like stare down scene where like it
Oh
shows
yeah.
but then it shows the roommate staring
Yeah,
down
Wallace.
the Anna Kendrick's boyfriend. That part made me laugh. I think I got to say the gay roommate, was probably my favorite character in this movie.
Yeah, Wallace
I think he's Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
you know
is
what? I was like,
correct.
I was thinking like that looks like Macaulay Culkin, but I remember in the opening credits I didn't see his name anywhere. So
Yeah, Kieran
Yeah,
Culkin.
He
I
didn't
think
look
his
that bugged out.
older brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think he was my favorite character.
Yeah.
I think he also was in She's All That, right? Is that him?
Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Did anyone watch She's All That?
Only
It's been a
the
long
one.
time.
Yeah, he's in there. Well, because I remember Irene was mentioning that we saw the movie together on Saturday.
Oh man, Rachel Lake Cook. I totally forgot. I had like a super crush on. Well, I guess I still kind of do. But what you're gonna look at Rachel Lake Cook and tell me no, David?
What?
Irene's listening, David.
Oh,
I only have eyes for one girl.
okay. Yeah, Rachel
No, you
Lake
have
Cook.
2 eyes. Come on, just go. Just
Two
one for one.
squinty, slanty eyes.
Wow.
So let's see. We heard from Stu. Let's hear from Ben. Ben, anything about this movie that you haven't already mentioned?
Well, I mean, I guess when I first saw this film, I think this was my second Edgar Wright film that I've seen, and I didn't know. I didn't put 2 and 2 together that it was the same guy. Not only that, but I remember I saw Shaun of the Dead, and I was still in that phase where I was terrified of anything remotely horror, so I didn't really pay attention to it.
That doesn't sound like anything like the current Ben right now.
It's great, right?
So that includes Shaun of the Dead. You were scared of that movie?
No, I was terrified of Shaun of the Dead. Holy shit!
But it was a comedy.
I know, right? I was scared. All right, like what was it when what's his face gets like mauled to death and they like tear his body apart and they're like waving his head around? I remember I like ran out of the room because I'm like, holy fuck, dude, he's getting killed, So, anyways,
Zombieland would have terrified little Ben Schmalwy at that time.
Yeah, no. Now let's watch a horror movie, David. Huh? Let's go watch something, huh?
You said you were scared. I'm still claiming that I'm scared. I'm fine with that. I'm an adult. I'm a grown ass man. I can admit it.
And I get scared of movies.
I'm so scared.
Oh yeah, join us on Wednesday when we stream on Twitch. David playing Dead Space. All right, thanks everyone.
Ooh, that's a new game.
But yeah, so when I saw this movie, I didn't know what Scott Pilgrim was at all. I didn't know that this was a comic book movie. My friends are just like, "Hey, let's go check this movie out," and I'm like, "All right." So like when the opening credits crawled out, it was just like, "Holy fuck!" I thought I was like going for a trip. Everything just started changing. It just like yeah, no, not that one.
Oh, I love that title scene.
Yeah, I know the video game thing was so awesome.
The 8-bit version of the Universal logo. Yeah,
that was really cool too. So I thought that was just like a nice little jab or something. But like when they started playing their music for the first time, and everything just started like just getting bigger and wider, and just focuses on crap. I don't remember the actress's name for Knives Chow, but just focus on her face and how
Ellen Wong, I think.
Oh yeah, Ellen Wong. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, it just was like, oh my god, this is what I'm in for, But then it kind of gets back into this groove throughout the rest of the film where it was just like, quirky kind of humor, but really fast cuts, and it was like really snarky, really snarky dialogues. I was like, oh, okay, I can get behind this. And then it finally gets to the first Evil X fight, and then everything just kind of goes out the window. It becomes like so fucking zany and over the top, as like over what they already had, which was already pretty zany at that point. And it was just like, okay, now they're doing a fucking full-on fight, and it was just crazy, you know. And it really set it up for the rest of the movie, even though that is, like Stu said, like 30 minutes in, right?
Mhm.
It's just insane. It just keeps going, and it has this energy that just, it just doesn't drop. And yeah, you could attribute it to like ADHD or whatever. I mean, I love it because it doesn't give you any time to breathe, and it's just like nonstop, like you're just staring at the screen, glued to it. You don't want to blink and miss anything. It's like everything was making you laugh. Everything's making you just wonder how the hell are they doing that. It's very stylish. It's very funny. It's very man, what's a word for that? But everyone has like this great chemistry on screen, except
Mhm.
I will say that I do not like Michael Cera in this role, but everyone else, yeah, okay, fine, you win, Stu. The one thing I hate about Michael Cera was fucking
Count
Scott
it.
Pilgrim. Like,
All right,
Count it.
yeah. So if they had recasted Scott Pilgrim to anybody else, who would you have picked
Jesse
to make this a
Eisenberg.
10? I know. Isn't that the same guy?
It's the same guy.
it's the same.
The guy.
The guy from Silicon Valley, that guy.
Also is the same guy.
DJ Miller?
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Eisenberg.
He'd be the biggest. He'd be like a fat version of Scott Pilgrim. DJ Miller.
No, not that. Not TJ Miller. The other guy.
No,
the main
Thomas
dude.
No,
Middleditch.
I heard what I wanted to hear, and then I heard you agree with it. Stu,
okay.
am I wrong?
Oh.
You're always wrong.
What? I'm agreeing with you.
Categorically, and I can't allow you to be right. So
What?
He's a man of
categorically
principle,
and
of sheer
unequivocally,
fucking will.
Thomas Middleditch.
John Wick in this bitch.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the one thing I hated.
But he's
about
also like the same person.
What? Who?
Thomas Middleditch.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, that
What
awkward.
like, how would you characterize them? If for people who have probably never seen Silicon Valley, don't know who Jesse Eisenberg is.
It's like a cyclical definition. It's like, you want to know who Michael Cera is? Look at Jesse Eisenberg. You want to see who Jesse Eisenberg is? Look at Thomas Middleditch. You want to see who Thomas Middleditch is? You can look at Michael Cera.
Wow. Is there some sort of like theory behind this, or some sort of theorem?
Yeah.
Well, they're all like socially awkward. Wait,
Yeah.
they're each from different eras.
Like, are they? I don't know. But
I don't know. I'm just kidding.
who? I don't know. I couldn't really think of who might play
just
that
keep
role.
mutating. They just keep mutating, like a virus.
They're all one person.
Yeah.
They're Dr. Paranoid and Dr. Paradigm.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so if they had recasted him instead of being Michael Cera, it was Jesse Eisenberg. You would give it a 10.
I think it would have been even worse.
It would have been 8.
Wow, this guy reminds me of Michael Cera.
Then we'd be right back at this again, and 10 years from now, going, man, it would have been better if it was Michael Cera instead of Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
But you know how there's always that lifetime role. Angelina Jolie was made to, her role was great for she was made for Tomb Raider, for Maleficent, those roles. It's like you put anybody else in, it doesn't make any sense. I know how much you guys disliked Michael Cera in this role, but I feel like I don't know if there's another actor on the planet that looks just like Scott Pilgrim and also would act very similar to that. That would have. I think
it's a fucking cartoon. What the fuck?
Yeah, but I mean, if there was a version of the cartoon, he's the closest thing that looks to it.
Let's pull up a picture of Scott Pilgrim from the comics and tell me who on earth looks like him. Oh, look, it's 2 eyes and a fucking oval with hair on it. Great. Don't tell me he looks like fucking Michael Cera. He doesn't look like
Michael Cera.
What about anybody else on the fucking planet?
Yes, Michael Cera is the only one who could ever play this role. I don't know. I just can't see any other role.
Yeah, I didn't mind Michael Cera. I think he's always in that category of that awkward white kid that he's been, but I think this one he kind of expanded a little bit. He did take the leading role, and I think he did a pretty good job.
He did okay to me.
Yeah.
I feel like it still was like way out of his depth, being confident and charming in some way, and being really smug. He just didn't have it for me in a lot of the time. It was really jarring because like throughout the rest of the film, you got like powerhouses, right? You got like Aubrey Plaza, you got like Chris Evans, you got Brandon
Brie
Routh,
Larson.
Brie Larson, you got like Jason Schwartz, you got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, you got like everybody, Alison Pill, like Anna Kendrick, everybody.
But and then you got any of them got big, right?
You got Superman and 2 Avengers in there.
Yeah. That's very true.
In the comic,
this kind of goes back to when we were talking about what was it? Knives Out. Remember we were talking about how I had this like kind of qualm about it, where it was Chris Evans who was the bad guy,
right?
And it was I felt like it was kind of like a slight on the film, just because Chris Evans was always cast as the smug asshole, and he always ended up being like the jerk. So this is one of those roles where he was the cocky jerk.
Yeah, but it was like cocky jerk in the same means he was a cocky jerk in Not Another Teen Movie. Like,
I know.
It was satirically a cocky jerk. He wasn't actually like in Knives Out. That's like actually a jerk character.
Yeah,
like
so he just had the persona for it, like before Avengers and everything, and now everyone can't stop viewing him as the the Boy Scout.
I mean, he's Captain America. I mean, what am I supposed to think? Captain America's a jerk?
Yeah. No, that he's
because he breaks all the rules.
Oh,
he's the high school football quarterback.
Ben edgelord over here.
Goddamn right.
So any other thoughts on this? Anything for the spoiler zone?
Yeah, fuck Stu. Fuck Stu.
Stu?
I like the vegan freeze vegan police. I like that scene.
That's the
vegan
absolutely
diet,
and then you also have Punisher.
The vegan?
Oh yeah, Thomas Jane, and I forget
Thomas Jane.
I never knew.
Wait, that was actually Thomas Jane?
Yeah, that was Thomas Jane. And
then my god, you're right. Oh my god.
His partner was I don't know his name, but I've seen him in tons of movies. Like he was in that one movie 187. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. But he's kind of like always like the LA like Vato kind of guy, like, but I can't remember his name. But anyways, yeah, I like that scene. There's a lot of good. There's a big cast in this movie. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I think that's where Clifton Collins.
Is that his name?
Yep. He was also in Star Trek and Traffic.
That doesn't sound like a Mexican name at all.
Oh, how about Clifton Collins?
Nope, you can't even. Not even when you say it like that. His real name is Clifton Gonzalez. Why twice?
Really? Wait, really?
That's what Wikipedia says.
I don't think that's real, dude.
Or it says his other names are Clifton Gonzalez.
Huh.
No. Yeah. Collins was born in Los Angeles, California. He's grandson of Pedro Gonzalez. He is sometimes credited as Clifton Gonzalez.
What kind of Hispanic name is Clifton?
I don't know, but his last name must be like hyphenated or something, because both parents must have been Gonzalez's.
Yeah, Gonzo.
Gonzalez is.
Oh, that's where I know him from. Westworld.
Oh, okay.
Cool story, David.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Westworld season 3 out now.
Yeah. It's good.
Okay. James, any thoughts for the spoiler zone for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
I feel like I'm missing a lot, but also, fun fact, it is the 10th anniversary of the movie.
Woo!
Yeah. And no, I just I highly recommend it. What
was the thing about the numbers?
Oh yeah, so even in the opening too, like how Ben mentioned that Edgar Wright likes to put like little hints and details or foreshadowing, and so if you notice, each of the X's has like a number that represents them, right? So you have, if you notice, Scott, he's wearing 0 and he drinks Coke Zero. It's because he's like, I guess, number 0. And then you have the first one, Patel. I'm trying to think what exactly his thing was.
I can't remember.
I thought the Coke
But-
Zero was just a funny bit. I didn't have no
Yeah.
connection to
I
it.
thought it was just why Darren only drinks Coke Zero. It's because he loves Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
But like Lucas Lee, Chris Evans' character, like he has a tattoo on his neck that's a 2, and then like there's little subtle hints here and there on each of the characters. I can't remember on top of my head, but I was looking at the Wikipedia page, and that thing is like a thesis. I think whoever wrote that, like, I was like, geez, they went to town, but it kind of explains all the references
Authored
and
by
subtle
Ben
hints.
Somali.
Yeah, give credit where it's due. All right.
All right. Any other final thoughts on Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
No. Just make sure if you're gonna watch it, you have time to do it, and you're not distracted by other stuff.
Yeah,
and
don't
like it more.
be working on
Don't be me.
work.
Yeah, don't be a dingus.
I mean, no, Stu is only watching it during his breaks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just in case if his bosses are listening, and you've gotten this far on the podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll exit the spoiler zone. So join us next week. We will be discussing. We will have another pair of special guests. I will mention the name of the movie. I will not tell you who will be joining us. It is going to be Step Brothers.
Secret.
You could probably guess who we might have on the show, but we'll just leave that a mystery. So tune in next week. We'll be covering Step Brothers as well as season 2, episode 8 of Street Sharks. Don't know the name of the title of that one. As always, I'm your host, David.
And I'm Stuart.
And I'm bad.
Fucking copy. There you go.
And I'm James.
Hey, James, thank you once again for
thank you for
stopping
having
by.
me.
Yeah.
It's been an awesome pleasure being here with you guys.
Yeah, it definitely will not be the last. I know that I sprung this one on you a little bit late, but think of a movie you want to review with us, and we'll definitely be happy to oblige and bring you back on the show. This was definitely a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so before you guys go, don't forget to tip your Reiki masters. Make sure to wash your hands and for more than 20 seconds at least. Practice social distancing. Keep yourself 6 feet away from anybody else, and tune in next week. And we'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.